At 6, the city of Portland has surpassed the troubling milestone of 1,000 shootings so far this year, and now commissioners are preparing to update the city budget.
And that could mean an influx of funding for the Portland Police Bureau, whose officers have said they're understaffed and overworked. All new this hour, Fox 12's Simon Gutierrez joins us live with some possible answers. Simon?
Yeah, recently Mayor Ted Wheeler announced some proposals to bolster the city's police bureau, and at least one other city commissioner believes that there's the political will on the city council to do even more. Months removed from protests in the streets and calls to defund or even abolish the police bureau, the city of Portland is confronted by the stark reality of a staggering increase in crime and violence, particularly gun violence.
It's been pretty painful to watch. You know, being in this line of work, what's happened since GVRT was defunded. The level of gun violence is at a rate we've never seen ever in the city of Portland. Historical.
Acting Lieutenant Ken DUILIO is a former member of the Police Bureau's Gun Violence Reduction Team, or GVRT, which, as he mentioned, was eliminated by the City Council in 2020 during a budget adjustment that stripped the Bureau of more than $15 million in funding. Now, with the city living through more than 1,000 shootings this year alone, he's been tasked to lead a new team dedicated to curbing gun violence, the Bureau's Focused Intervention Team.
It feels like the tide is kind of starting to turn a little bit from kind of the anti-police defundment to, hey, we got to right-size the police department.
In September, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler called on the city council to add money back to the police budget to rehire officers on the brink of retirement in an effort to keep the chronically short-staffed police bureau afloat.
For a city our size, you'd expect us to have about 1,200 cops. Portland is hovering around 700 cops as of today.
Commissioner Mingus Mapps, elected to the city council in November of 2020, supports the mayor's retire-rehire proposal and wants to go beyond that. During the fall budget management process, known as the fall bump, Max says he'll propose adding funding for body-worn cameras, expanding the Portland Street Response program to take on up to 5% of police calls for service, and doubling the size of the Police Bureau's Behavioral Health Unit, which pairs officers with mental health professionals.
In your opinion, is it time to refund the police?
I was never an advocate for defunding the police. I do think that we need to reinvent the police and how we go about public safety. We're going to have to, I think, grow.
As for DUILIO and his Focused Intervention Team, they're scheduled to hit the streets in mid-November. He says recruiting has been difficult, with fellow officers unsure if the team has the support of city leaders. He does think the city can gain ground on its gun violence problem, but
I hope people don't think, fit team hits the street, all problem solved. Man, this is going to take years to get it back under control, and it's going to take a serious commitment from the elected officials.
Simon, some might argue that the FIT team seems like a reboot of the gun violence reduction team. How will this be different?
Well, the biggest difference, Pete, is a community oversight factor. The FIT team will have a group of community members assigned to it, selected to oversee their activities, and even offer suggestions as to how to make changes. How that all is going to work, though, isn't entirely clear at this point. The FIT team is yet to be completely assembled, and Lieutenant DUILIO, whom we heard from earlier, says that some of the hesitancy of officers to apply for some of these positions is directly related to some of that uncertainty about community oversight. So a lot of things that remain to be figured out here, and remains to be seen exactly how this team will be deployed and what that level of oversight will be. Reporting live in Southeast Portland, Simon Gutierrez, Fox 12 Oregon.